Hey guys, welcome to the round 2 fantasy team review video after what was an interesting week of fantasy. I think it was very much the opposite to round 1 where this week a lot of the Uber Elite primos that didn't quite fire last week really fired this week. Talking about guys like Rory Laird who bounced back in a big way, and some of those mid prices who did pretty well last week kind of came crashing back down to earth this week. You look guys like Jason Horne-Francis, who was very good last week, not so great this week. So I think we kind of have a better guide now of who the real good mid-price picks are that we have to get in our teams, and which kind of premiums are going to be the top players in their line. So I think we did learn a lot this week. As for my team, I scored 2,000 on the dot this week, which was probably below par. I think par score was around 2,050 to 2,100. I think for the real good coaches out there, but I think I'll take that in the end. Ranking slid to 10,000, so look, it could have been a lot worse. So I'll definitely take the score of 2,000 this week. So now I'll take a quick look at my team and how it performed in round 2, starting off in defence. We have Sicily and Brayshaw there. They were just okay this week and really hurt not only Nick Dacos there, I think. He scored 117 off the back of a 114 the week before. He's just come back even better, believe it or not, from his amazing year last year. And yeah, really regret not starting him, especially instead of a guy like Brayshaw, who's been a little disappointing, hasn't scored a ton so far, so that's a big regret of mine, but Sicily and Brayshaw still should be good for the remainder of the season. Then we have Andy McGrath. He's just been okay over the first 2 weeks. Andy McGrath, 88, which is not a bad score, but I really wanted him to push that 95 to 100 mark, which I don't think he's going to get to, unfortunately, so I think I'll just have to stick it out with him for a while though, because there's plenty of other issues that I have to deal with. Plenty of mid-prices and rookies that are more higher priority to move on over the next month or so. So I just got to stick it out with him and hopefully can keep being consistent at least. Then Charlie Constable, he was very good again, has no problems finding the footy, and hopefully he cements his spot in that Suns defence. Then we round out with the rookies. Jinby, he was great again. And then Darcy Wilmot, he actually played a pretty good game, I thought. Didn't quite translate into scoring, but I think we'll take that score at D6 for now, and which is a very thin spot for rookies down in defence and not really quite delivering at the moment. As we go to the bench, Cowan and Chesser there, they haven't been great. And Chesser, he was subbed out, so he might get dropped next week, unfortunately. Moving on to the midfield now, Bailey Smith and Marcus Bonampelli, they were disappointing again, to be honest. 105 from Smith and 92 from Bont. Now, that's the second week in a row that Bont hasn't turned up, which is just very disappointing. I had high expectations on both Smith and Bont this year with Dunkley going out of that midfield. I thought they were really primed to go big, push that 105, 110 average, but just haven't quite been where I'd like them to be. And yeah, the Dogs, they've had a very disappointing start to the year. So yeah, very big disappointment, those two so far. Luke Davies-Uniacke, though, on the other hand, he's just been very opposite of a disappointment. He's just been flying and very happy with the pick, and I think he can be a top 8 midfielder this year. LDU, definitely having one of those breakout seasons so far, and can't see him slowing down at all. So he was absolutely awesome, LDU. Then we got Errol Gordon. He was great. There was a little bit of a rumour going around that he was going to miss due to a calf injury, but he ended up playing and he ended up looking really good. So, yeah, he should be a top 6 forward once I move him back down to that forward line. Then we got the mid-prices in Warple and Callaghan. Warple, he was good again. Slowed down in the second half. Did have a very good first half. So, look, 82, you take that from a mid-pricer in him. And, yeah, he should be still be pretty good for the next kind of months or so, I think, before I look to move him on. And Callaghan, he was actually very impressive for me just because he injured his shoulder in the first quarter. I think he was on around 15 points or so, but ended up soldiering on to find his way to get 61. So not a great score, but I think just because he ended up coming back on the ground, fighting through the pain, I think, yeah, definitely happy with Callaghan in the end. So not sure what the extent of his shoulder injury is, so I'll have to watch out for that this week there with Callaghan. And then we got the rookies, McKenzie and Ashcroft. Ashcroft, wow, I was very impressed with that game. On Friday night, I think it was, against the D's in that power outage game, but yeah, he looked really good. Bounced back off a little bit of an underwhelming debut from him. And then Cam McKenzie, he was fine. Didn't score great, but yeah, he should hold his spot and continue making some cash for us. Then the bench, Ollie Hollins, yeah, he was great this week. Shame I didn't field him this week. But yeah, he looked good on that wing, got plenty of the ball this time. It was very good, so he'll make a lot of cash for us. Then Ellen Davey, he was good as well, backing up from last week, and he should make some more cash as well. So the rucks now, Witts 84, he was solid enough, so I'll definitely take that. Then Rowan Marshall, he bounced back in a big way from a disappointing round one, but yeah, he showed us why we all started with him and had high expectations on him this season, so he should be a top 2 ruck, I think, if he just as long as he keeps that solo ruck role at the Saints. Onto the forward line now. Josh Dunkley, he's been a little bit of a disappointment, I think, to start the year. Hasn't turned up yet. 77 last week and 97 this week, which I think it's just more to do with him adjusting to that new side. I think that's what I'm going to put it down to. I think just as he gets warms into it, I think you'll start to see the kind of old Josh Dunkley back. That Bulldogs Josh Dunkley where he pushed that 110. So, look, would have been ideally in hindsight not to start with him because he's going to drop in price now, but he'll be a top 6 forward. So I'm backing Josh Dunkley to find his groove in the not too distant future. Then we had Tim Taranto as captain this week, 108. Not an amazing score, but I think you can rely on him to score that 110 around that mark week in, week out. So he'll still be a nice captain option going forward for me. Then Connor Rozee, he's been similar to Josh Dunkley, quite hasn't delivered so far to start the year, but I think it's only a matter of time before Rozee hits his straps. Then Tanner Bruhn there, he was the big kind of bummer for me this round. I was going to trade him out all week to Jack Sheezel, but it was the last minute I thought we'll keep him for one more week and fix up some rookies on the bench. We brought in Luke Pedlar there for Fergus Green. That was not a great move in hindsight. I missed out on around 60 points because Sheezel went massive again. So I'll have to fix it up this week with Tanner Bruhn there. He hasn't been a great pick at all, really. And then to the rookies, Harry Sheezel. What more can you say about this kid? He's just an absolute machine. 127 off the back of 118, I think it was last week. That's just insane. And who knows, he might be a top 6 forward and yeah, he's going to get defender status come round 6. He might be a top 6 defender. Who knows? He couldn't put anything past this kid. Absolutely unbelievable. Then Cade Chandler, he looked really good actually. Took a lot of marks, pushed up the ground. Looked really lively, kicked an amazing goal in the last quarter, so very happy with him. He'll make heaps of cash moving forward. Into the bench, Filippo and Pedlar. Filippo was actually amazing. He kicked 3 goals, but just doesn't get the disposals enough to translate that into fantasy scoring, so he'll be a bit of a slow burn there. Then Pedlar I brought in this week. Thought he played okay, I think, and it's just about cash generation with him. And then Bergman in that utility position, he was okay, and hopefully he keeps his spot. So as for the trades that I'm looking to make at this stage, heading into round 3, what I'm looking to do is grab 2 players that I think are absolutely right for the picking in Jack Sheezel and Will Setterfield at their current price. Now, ideally I would have started with them in round 1, but yeah, hats off to anyone who did start with them, as I think you'd be in a pretty good position right now, but I still think this week's the time to get them. Both have low break-evens in the 20s, so they're both going to make plenty of cash moving forward. I think both of their roles are really good, and I think they are safe picks. So I'm going to look to correct that trade that I should have made last week in Tanner Bruhn to Jack Sheezel, and then trade out one of my Bulldogs mids in Marcus Bonampelli and pocket that cash and bring in Will Setterfield. Now, look, ideally I wouldn't want to cut one of my premium midfielders, but I think I need both Sheezel and Setterfield this week, I think. So, and then that leaves me with still plenty of cash in the bank, 289k to spend in the coming weeks, and that's when I look to make my move and start cutting some of these mid prices and rookies, fix up that back line, and Constable, Jinby and Wilmot start to do something there, start to do something with Warple and Callaghan. So I think these trades that I'm making this week really set me up the next month or so to start making those big rookie to premium upgrades or mid prices to premium upgrades. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that team looks after that. And as for the captains I'm looking at this week, Josh Dunkley is vice captain on Thursday night. I think a lot of people might be turned off by him just because of his start to the season, but yeah, I'm just going to back Josh Dunkley in. We know what he's capable of, and then I think I'm going to go with Tim Taranto once again. He plays the Pies at the MCG on Friday night. he's just probably the safest pick I have right now. That's probably my only weakness is just those midfielders are probably not quite safe captaincy options yet. Obviously LDU, he's had a flying start, but I'll just be very wary to those LDU owners out there looking to maybe captain him this week. He does play Hawthorn, and Finn McGuinness has done some real hard tag jobs on a lot of midfielders in the past and been very good at it. So just be very careful there, as I'm definitely expecting Finn McGuinness to go to LDU this week. So yeah, they're the captain options that I like. I don't mind this week. Josh Dunkley vice captain into Tim Taranto as captain. So yeah, there's my team there and how it shapes up heading into round 3. So that's all for today's video, guys. Thanks again for watching, and it'd be much appreciated if you could like, comment, subscribe. Leave any questions you have for me in the comments. I'm happy to give a second opinion as always. And yeah, that's all for today's video, guys, and see you next week.